Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. Whoa. Alright, I'm back from visiting my family, and my voice is pretty much back to normal. It's still missing a few of those high little partials that you might hear sometimes. Like if I try to falsetto, it still breaks a lot. But we're pretty much back to normal now. I feel pretty good. I've been exercising again. That's been great, which is a sign that I'm back to normal. Yeah, and I'm ready to just practice. Which, I'm going to talk about this, like, probably when I get to actually practicing, but I'm trying something new. Right now, what you're watching, this is the Sore Hands channel. Hi, welcome. If this is your first video, it's probably not, because no new person's actually watching this video. You're watching Rick Beato, Jacob Collier, or Coyer, as I affectionately call him sometimes. You're just probably not starting with this one, but I have a second channel, and what I think I'm going to start doing is maybe streaming, but definitely using it for raw, nasty, uncut footage. I don't know why I said nasty, it'll be perfectly normal. But my vision for it right now, imagine this. Imagine if you could watch an old documentary or maybe a podcast, while also seeing me in the background practicing my guitar, muted, and occasionally unmuting to chime in to whatever we're watching. Kind of like a reaction log, but way more sparse, and I'm practicing guitar the whole time. But you can't really hear that. You're mainly just watching the documentary or the podcast or whatever it is that I'm watching while I practice. Which I'm saying that now, that's not like an amazing way to practice or anything, but it is an amazing way to perhaps make content out of my practicing, which I'm all about that, as you guys know. My life is run by content. If I can make content out of it, it justifies me doing it. And again, it'll be like a reaction log, but uncut, unedited. We're just watching a movie together, basically, and I'm playing guitar in the corner quietly, and perhaps you could do the same thing while you're watching it. And that's where the practice is going to be. So I'm going to go through this entire chair log as normal. I'm going to answer some comment questions, all that stuff, and I'll say I'll see you on the other side, and then you'll just see some fast-forwarded clips, and go to the second channel if you want to watch that in its entirety. It's strange, I get it. It's like two videos in one, and you have to go to a separate YouTube channel to finish that video, but I think it'll be interesting, and I think that'll be a good way for me to kind of talk about my practice and talk more candidly, because a lot of times in the reaction videos that I do, I'm kind of just trying to put on a show and entertain you, and I'm not talking as candidly as I could be. And maybe some of you missed that if you're one of the first 1,000 subscribers or so and you used to always hear me talk candidly. So I don't know, just an idea. What do you think of that? I don't care what you think. I don't ask for opinions. I just do whatever I want. Sorry, but that's just generally good advice, because I've gotten a lot of questions about that. I'm not going to find it in particular right now, but I think a lot of you might be interested in this. Somebody left a comment asking, should they start their own guitar channel? And again, I get a lot of questions like that. And now there's always these notions that we have, like, oh, is that a marketable idea? Is there a space for that in the guitar community right now? There's always space for anything. And I'll go ahead and tell you, any idea that you have, it's only a worthwhile idea if you're willing to sink time into it and to actually commit to the idea. Because guess what? Ideas evolve over time. You know, you can make your crappy guitar channel 1% better every week or every month, and eventually it's going to turn into a really good guitar channel. Not saying that I managed to do that or anything, because I think technically this is still a crappy guitar channel, but I'm trying to improve it, and that's the point. The initial conception of this channel was terrible. It was just me with a camera, just not knowing what I'm doing. So if you fantasize about doing something like this, or even doing something in your niche, whatever weird thing you do behind closed doors, just do it and commit to it. And ideally, make it something that if you got no recognition, no money from it at all, that you would keep doing it. Because I'll tell you, I've been doing this channel for like 2 years, and I didn't start actually making money from it until like the last 3 months. And if I wasn't making money from it, I would still be doing it. And I know that for sure because I grinded. I think my first 1,000 subscribers took me like 6 months, and then getting to 2,000 took another like 4 months, which I'm saying those numbers as if they're low. It was a lot of work for not a whole lot of recognition. And since then, my channel is 10x'd, of course, which is a lot. It's like, and this is still to a lot of people not a whole lot of recognition, but it's way more than at 2,000, I'll tell you that. So I don't know. If you have an idea, just go for it. Literally any idea. It doesn't matter the quality of it. Just do it, and that'll put you in a position where you are learning now, and you will improve. And that's what I'm doing here too with the second channel. I'm branching out to new things, and I'm going to see how that long form content idea goes. And I feel good about it because I feel like I can commit to it pretty well, because it just involves me practicing. I do that all the time, and it's all set up on my computer with OBS and all that, and I know I can do it. So I'm going to try to, upload to there a few times a week. It'll be every time there's a practice log, basically. I'll practice for that. Yeah, and that's where we're at. Pretty inspiring stuff. Speaking of inspiring, let's look at the comments section and answer some comment questions, shall we? Hey, remember how I said in one of the last reaction logs where I reacted to my own fugue how I always welcome criticism and it's never annoying, especially when it comes from faceless freaking YouTube channels that have no videos. And I'm gonna read this criticizing comment, and that I want to go ahead and tell you because I get a lot of criticism and I dish a lot of criticism too. But guess what? When I dish my criticism, I do it with my freaking face right here, with my comment section turned on. You know my name and my profession, and you could probably figure out where I live if you really tried and looked hard enough. I'm opening myself up to the same criticism is the point. You faceless freaking YouTube accounts that just say anything you want. You guys are the real cowards. Here's a coward right here. This one is from Hazel_Abitur. I'm just lashing out right now. I don't actually hate you or anything, but I am going to read your comment and I'm going to defend myself. Here it is. Cameron, and you address me by my first name because I've given you my first name and my face to attach to that. I must say, your dynamics are so subtle they border on theoretical, like Schrodinger's crescendo. It's both there and not. Cute. Very cute. The phrasing, utterly spontaneous, as though guided by divine randomness. That is such an easy thing to say about anyone's performance. The phrasing was random. What are you basing that on exactly? I'm taking time between each subject to differentiate them. And I feel like I'm doing it in a way that makes sense. Dot 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 da 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 da. Dot 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 dot. Like I'm not randomly pushing and pulling, or at least I don't feel I am. At least when I compare it to performances that I did 6 months ago, I feel like it's way more informed now. The phrasing, utterly spontaneous. Great. This kind of criticism is so vague and pointless, and all you're really conveying to me is that you're trying to be cute right now. Around 2:25, you approach a legato passage and deliver what I can only describe as auditory porridge. And that memory slip at 8:24, less of a mistake, more of a subconscious plea to escape the piece entirely. Yeah, definitely, that's what was happening there. I'd like to have you know, I actually really enjoyed playing the fugue that time, and I had no desire to escape it in that moment. Your referencing of Hilary Hahn is admirable, though your execution suggests more of a Hilary energy. You were just the cutest commenter I've ever had, I gotta say. The subject of the fugue appears when it pleases, much like a cat with commitment issues. What? I swear to God, you ran this comment through ChatGPT with the prompt, like, make jokes about Schrodinger's cat the whole time. Make it 10% cuter, please. Make it nice and cute for him. In all, a brave performance. It's equal parts sincerity and chaos. Now kindly spend 6 months with a metronome and a mirror. One of them will fix your timing, the other your optimism. I didn't realize I was an optimistic guitarist. That's really funny. I think the thing that I'm most optimistic about is that I want to be able to perform recitals in 10 years. I think that was the figure that I went with. Have I ever been openly optimistic about my guitar playing, really? Do I need to tone that down? Should I make it like 20 or 30 years? Will that make you feel better? Why 6 months with a metronome? Why not just spend 6 years in front of the mirror with a metronome? Good, I am a cat came into the rescue here with the response. I find this level of criticism a bit unnecessary and actually contrary to what will help him improve the fugue. Yes, it's just more vague criticism that could apply to any performance of anything, and it's not helpful, but I do deserve it. I deserve to be criticized in ways that aren't helpful because I dish it out all the time. I know what it feels like to be Jacob Collier or Rick Beato because of all of you guys. So thanks for that. Thank you for giving me a taste of my own medicine. I appreciate it. Oh God, it doesn't end. Freaking Turk Mollusk left a comment on my video where I reacted to the Roland Dines Soar Mozart Variations masterclass that featured a little kid playing the Soar Mozart Variations. The young man's playing seemed a lot more emotional and expressive than your own. Thanks. It's probably because I've been beaten down by all these freaking naysayers. I'm sorry that my emotions are drained. I'm a shriveled, dry shell of a man I used to be. I used to be a kid too. I bet when I was a little boy, I could maybe deliver the Soar Mozart Variations with a little more whimsy, but now I'm just broken and beaten down because of all of you. See, this is why I don't want to stream too, because I couldn't imagine getting comments in real time and having to actually vet my emotions while being broadcast to the world. Because I at least have time here. I can read it and kind of process it. And this isn't the first time I'm reading these comments. I've read them throughout the day. The initial wave hit me where I was reading that first one by Hazel, and I was just like, you so annoying. Okay, this is an interesting question from old Johnny100, friend of the channel. How's it going? Do you ever get fugue fatigue? Meaning, do you ever find yourself losing passion or patience of a piece due to repetition? I liken it to a stand-up comic having a bit that kills, but after performing it 5,000 times, they can't work up the same raw emotion that made it kill in the first place. That is an excellent question, and yes, I do get fugue fatigue from time to time, and the cure for that is just not playing it. I find that that's a pretty good way to do it. Generally, how I like to go about things is I'll have 1 or maybe 2 days of hardcore working on a piece, and I kind of loosely have that cycle throughout a week or maybe 10 days or so, because I have a lot of music that I'm working on, and it's nice to put the spotlight on just one of those pieces per day, or at the most in 2 days. So I'll like hardcore work on it, and then I put it on the back burner for a week or so, and I sort of let it digest, and maybe I'll play through it once a day or so just to kind of see how everything's working out. Or just remember from that hardcore work that I did the little things that I need to work on, and I'll just work on them for 10 minutes each or something like small, and then I'll come back to it and hardcore work on it in a week or so again. It's similar to how you would train your body, you know? It's not too unusual nowadays because people get real wacky with their exercise routines, but it would be a little strange if you met somebody who worked out every day, and every day they did full body, push, pull, upper, lower, everything. Just every day, 6 days a week or something like that. If you were training once or twice a week, totally makes sense. Totally fine to do that. Not everyone can go to the gym 6 days a week. Not everyone can play guitar 6 days a week. So every 3 or 4 days, you just do everything, and then that will just kind of build. And over years and years, that will work out for you. You won't be on the same level as someone like me who practices every day, or other people that practice every day. But if you're only doing it twice or once a week, it's a hobby then, so who cares? Just get as good as you can. Now, of course, when you're training every day, maybe you have 4 days, upper push, upper pull, lower pull, rest. You have all these different gym days now because you're dedicating more time to it so you can get nuance with your approach and how you're training. And the same thing with practice. If you have several hours a day, every single day to practice, you can get really nuanced with how you do things, and you don't have to work on the same piece every day. Each day that you practice, you can have these sort of cycles where you only work on the piece hardcore once every 4 days, and then that works out pretty well, I find. Now, that's more for maintaining and perfecting music. That's what I do with the fugue that I've had memorized for like a year now. And the Soar Mozart variations I've had even longer. If I'm working on a new piece, for example, this is probably what I'm going to work on today in the second channel, BWV997 Prelude, I'll work on that every day basically. And I'm going to keep working on that every day until I have the whole thing learned and preferably memorized. Same thing with the Schubert. I'm still working on the Schubert as well, and I work on that every day. So those are kind of the 2 main pieces that I work on every day. But once I have those good and memorized, they will then transition to those memorized pieces that I just keep in my mind. And like I said, the pieces that I have in my mind right now are the Soar Mozart variations, the Schubert, the Morel Sonatina to a lesser extent. I started going back into that because I kind of had a realization that I didn't have that much music fully memorized, and I kind of want to be able to give at least like a 20-minute recital if I like really needed to. That's something I'm gonna maybe pursue doing too, just giving out little mini recitals wherever I can. I might even just stream them too on the second channel. I just kind of had a realization how important it is to actually be in that performance space. And even when I perform for you here, just performing one piece, I feel like that's not quite enough because you need to give a full recital to really get the experience of it. Because a lot of times the first piece that you play in a recital, that's like the hardest part. That's the worst piece that you're going to play. My teacher in university called that the waffle piece, the first piece that you play. Because the first waffle you make is always the worst one, right? So yeah, I'm getting that back together too. I kind of want to get Capriccio Arbe and Julia Florida back memorized. Just because that's an easy, just 10 minutes right there of really beautiful music that people will actually want to hear. So those are good ones. I'm going to try to get that. And with all that, that's at least 30 minutes. Especially if I add the Schubert and the 997 Prelude and Fugue to that. Those are my goals before I start my master's degree this fall. Whoa, few months now. I think that's enough preamble before this practice log. So I'm going to go ahead and switch the camera over, and I'm going to get to practicing, and we're going to watch a YouTube video, I guess, while I do that. I'll see you on the other side. On the other channel.
Be clear, is that how you feel about Cain and Abel? That is to say, an identifiable Homo sapiens called Cain,
it's
who murders his brother.
In a sense, it's irrelevant to me because even if they
How do they not get that he's just being difficult? Like, I would understand fully at this point. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. Moving on. This is such a strange conversation between these two guys. Is this what adults talk about? What a huge waste of time that was. The most productive part about this was that I practiced guitar the whole time. Alright, I'm back from that. So, I didn't put the clock on, sorry about that. But the video that I filmed, that was of me practicing and reacting to a mystery video, I wonder what it was. It was a little out of the box, not usually what I would do, and I might have shown clips of it. Don't think that I'm a fan of that kind of stuff. I'm really not. It's just entertaining to listen to garbage sometimes. Sometimes I just need something that just gets me through the practice, and I think that did a sufficient job because I put in 2 hours pretty much on the dot. I worked only on BWV997 Prelude. I have the first page memorized, but I can't play it like up to speed for memory, so I'm still gonna read it. But here's what it sounds like. And so on. That might have been a little bit fast, but as you can tell, I'm getting that under my fingers, and again, that part, basically everything I played is basically memorized, but I'd have to play it a whole lot slower, and I'm gonna keep working on that. Yeah, it's good. I usually wouldn't condone watching YouTube videos while you practice, but I feel like for doing that memory work, it's like decently efficient. I mean, it took 2 hours to kind of barely memorize something. I don't know, it's fine. I had fun doing it, at least. I'm not gonna film all my practice sessions like that, but, you know, a few times a week, mainly just work on memory stuff. I think that would be good. Alright, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. If you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like, of course. Hey, head on down over to Rude's Delight. I teach classical guitar lessons. Send me an email if you are interested. I'm fully booked right now, of course. I'll be fully booked forever and ever, but you can always reach out and send an email. I might not respond because I'm bad about that, but just know that if you did, I read it and I appreciate it. I'm just super busy. I'm really busy all the time. I'm always trying to make videos, but yeah, you know the deal with that. Of course, what else? Patreon, member section, that's pretty much it. I'll see you in the next one.